As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. When the great mosaic of humanity is treated with respect and dignity, when no person is threatened by hunger or war, when we have extended hospitality to the stranger and tended to the sick, when equity and justice reign everywhere, then we shall all be free. We light this flame to hold that moment in our spirit and in our minds until we can make it real. Once again, welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. We have so much good that's going on. Check out the West Shore Weekly in your order of service about events coming up and how you can get involved. We are excited to welcome our guest speaker this morning. Rabbi Eddie Sukol founded the Shul, Cleveland's open synagogue, in 2007. He serves as the rabbi at the Cleveland Clinic on behalf of the Jewish Federation. He sits on the Ethics Committee of University Hospitals and the Pediatrics Ethics Committee of Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital. Rabbi Sukol has previously served as the Hillel Director at Ohio University, the Director of Spiritual Care at the Montefiore Home and NCJW Hospice, and as a Congregational Rabbi. Rabbi Sukol received rabbinical ordination and a Master of Arts in Hebrew Letters degree from Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, and a BA degree in psychology from Temple University. Rabbi Sukol is currently a member of the Board of Trustees of the Hillel Foundation at Ohio University. He is a past president of the Greater Cleveland Board of Rabbis and a former board member of the Mandel Jewish Day School. Rabbi Sukol is married to Roxanne V. Sukol, MD. Their family includes 3 adult children and their spouses and 3 grandchildren. Rabbi Sukol enjoys baking, especially organic whole wheat challah, travel, and playing the conga drums. Welcome, Rabbi. If you are here for the first or second time and don't mind letting others know, please raise your hand so we can offer a special welcome to you. And now, while our children go to their classes, let's greet each other warmly. The greeting time will end with the sounding of the bowl. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together or lighting our chalice. It is a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. The offering will now be given and greatly received.
An excerpt from William Blake's The Four Zoas. It is an easy thing to triumph in the summer sun and in the vintage, and to sing on the wagon loaded with corn. It is an easy thing to talk of patience to the afflicted, to speak the laws of prudence to the houseless wanderer, to listen to the hungry raven's cry in wintry season, when the red blood is filled with wine and with the marrow of lambs. It is an easy thing to laugh at wrathful elements, to hear the dog howl at the wintry door, the ox in the slaughterhouse moan, to see a God on every wind and a blessing on every blast, to hear sounds of love in the thunderstorm that destroys our enemy's house, to rejoice in the blight that covers his field and the sickness that cuts off his children, while our olive and vine sing and laugh round our door, and our children bring fruits and flowers. Then the groan and the dolour are quite forgotten, and the slave grinding at the mill, and the captive in chains, and the poor in prison, and the soldier in the field, when the shattered bone hath laid him groaning among the happier dead. It is an easy thing to rejoice in the tents of prosperity.
And now all are welcome to come forward to share from the heart in our community ritual of For All That Is Our Lives. These are the joys and sorrows of our hearts, which, in Reverend McCarr's absence, will be shared with Kathy Strausser, head of our pastoral care team, and held with care until Reverend McCarr's return.
Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be back here. I don't know if it was last summer or the summer before, but I've been here a few times now, so it's starting to feel like home. So I want to thank you for the invitation and for your attendance here this morning. Not that it's my place to do so, but I thank you for being here. And to everyone who was involved in putting the service together, I've been in touch with Scott a number of times, and someone from the office, Matt, and to hear David's beautiful organ playing. Thank you for all of that. It's wonderful. I get invited to speak at different organizations and religious churches and synagogues and so on from time to time, and it's always interesting to see what's similar and what's different. There are a number of similarities between my tradition and what I see going on here this morning. You light a chalice, we light Shabbos candles. Almost no one sits in the first few rows, kind of similar. And there's one thing you do here that we don't do. In Jewish tradition, it's customary not to handle money on Shabbat. So we can't take up an offering during services, but I like that custom a lot. And I was in a Roman Catholic church a number of years ago in North Olmsted for a funeral service of the mother of a very dear friend of ours. And I left there and I realized I want to live as a Jew, but I want to die a Catholic. I love that ritual. And I'm glad you stopped with the introduction when you did. It was getting close to a eulogy there, so that always get anxious. May there be such a oneness between us that when one weeps, the other tastes salt. This quote from Khalil Gibran beautifully expresses our aspiration for the kind of connection we hope to feel with others. It is a wonderful idea, but as we know from our experience of simply living our lives every day, this isn't always the case. We are not always able to taste the salt of another's tears. We may not want to. People aggravate us. We get upset with them. We get upset with ourselves. We may already feel overwhelmed by the barrage of bad news that batters us every day. As I say, Gibran expresses an aspiration, not necessarily a lived reality. So many people from time to time, and too many people much of the time, walk around with a profound sense of alienation, a feeling of being disconnected from others, of being alone or isolated. I meet with many couples in advance of officiating their wedding ceremony, and I engage with them in several sessions of premarital counseling. We focus on building and sustaining a successful marriage, what that means, and how to do so. We talk about ways to address and manage, and even from time to time, resolve marital conflict. And we talk about their families of origin and how they became who they are. And I tell them that I want to talk about the families they grew up in because we are forever influenced by those families. I used to say to couples that we never, quote, we never escape our family of origin. But I discovered that kind of language scares people. So I softened it. And I say our family forever influences us. We talk about their hopes and dreams for the future. I learn a lot about these couples. And one of the things that I have discovered over the years of doing this is the remarkably large number of them who are on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. For many of them, a sense of disconnectedness is part of their depression. A feeling of alienation from others is an aspect of their anxiety. By and large, these couples, they're high-achieving, educated, successful people, and they enjoy lives that they themselves rate as somewhere between good and wonderful. Yet they carry heavy and intense burdens, sometimes without even fully realizing it. And interestingly, at least to me, I find this to be true whether it's with a younger couple who are each marrying for the first time, or with older adults who, having been married and divorced or widowed, are ready to marry again with a different partner. One bride who had been through a marriage and divorce said to me, "I learned a lot from my practice husband. I'm ready to try again." I had never heard it phrased quite that way. Let me tell you a story about three friends of mine. Well, I don't actually know them. They're not personal friends, really. They are three rabbis from the 2nd and 3rd centuries. I feel very close to them, so for me, they're friends. Rabbi Chia bar Abba fell ill. His teacher, Rabbi Yochanan, came to visit him. Yochanan asked Chia, "Is your suffering dear to you? Do you desire to be sick and afflicted?" Rabbi Chia answered, "I welcome neither this suffering nor its reward." Rabbi Yochanan said, "Give me your hand." Rabbi Chia gave him his hand, and Rabbi Yochanan stood him up and restored him to health. Sometime later, Rabbi Yochanan fell ill. Rabbi Hanina, the 3rd rabbi, came to visit him. And Hanina asked Yochanan the very same question, "Is your suffering dear to you?" And Rabbi Yochanan replied, "I welcome neither this suffering nor its reward." Rabbi Hanina said, "Give me your hand." Rabbi Yochanan gave him his hand, and Rabbi Hanina stood him up and restored him to health. And the Gemara, a commentary within the Talmudic text itself, asks the following question: why did Rabbi Yochanan wait for Rabbi Hanina to restore him to health? If Rabbi Yochanan was able to heal his student, why didn't he stand himself up? And the Gemara answers its own question. A prisoner cannot generally free themselves from prison, but depends on others to release them from their shackles. A prisoner cannot generally free themselves. They depend on others to release them. Let me put it another way with a tale that might already be familiar to you. This guy's walking down the street when he falls in a deep hole. The walls are so steep he can't get out. A doctor passes by and the guy shouts up, "Hey you, can you help me out?" The doctor writes out a prescription, throws it down in the hole, and walks on. Then a priest comes along and the guy shouts up, "Hey father, I'm down out here in this hole, can you help me out?" And the priest writes out a prayer, throws it down in the hole, and moves on. And then a friend walks by. "Hey Joe, it's me. Can you help me out?" And the friend jumps in the hole. Our guy says, "Are you stupid? Now we're both down here." And the friend says, yeah, but I've been down here before, and I know the way out. Giving and taking, reciprocity, shared experience, learning from one another, helping each other, worthy, lofty, and laudable values, but not always so easy. We are not always ready to jump into someone else's hole. I laughed the first time I heard the expression, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." I laugh every time I hear it, to be truthful, because it's a clever phrase and it instantly paints such a vivid picture. But here's the problem with it. Not my circus, not my monkeys is a way to distance ourselves from someone else's problems, from their suffering, their distress, and their pain. The late, great singer, songwriter, guitarist extraordinaire Steve Goodman wrote, "It ain't hard to get along with somebody else's trouble, and they don't make you lose any sleep at night. Just as long as fate is out there bursting somebody else's bubbles, everything is going to be all right." I'm not sure how true that bit of sardonic folk wisdom actually is, but I do know that it's no way to orient ourselves in the world. Getting along with someone else's troubles, living in a not my circus, not my monkeys world, fails to recognize our interdependence, our connectedness, our human bond with one another. I want to suggest that we are, simply by being alive, by being a member of the human family, we are obligated to feel others' suffering, to have compassion and mercy on the shackled prisoner, whatever their particular chains may be. You know what group of people knows this and lives this more than most of us? Individuals in 12-step programs, irrespective of the nature of their addiction. Their peer-to-peer support for one another, with one goal, to maintain their sobriety and abstinence, establishes a bond amongst them. Through meetings and sponsorship, through making themselves available to each other no matter the hour, they support one another. Through their actions and their support for each other, they say, "Sister, brother, your circus, my monkeys. We are in this together." In Jewish tradition, we have a standard lectionary for the reading of the Torah each week, the 5 books of Moses. The Torah is divided into parshiot, portions that are read sequentially week by week, enabling us to complete the reading of the Torah in a year's time. And when we finish the end of Deuteronomy, we immediately turn back to the beginning and read the opening verses of Genesis, a never-ending cycle that begins over and over and over again every year. Torah reading and Torah study, it's a never-ending process in our tradition. A week ago yesterday, on Shabbat morning, we read Parshat Balak, which is found about 2/3 of the way through the 4th book of the Torah, the book of Numbers. If you know your Hebrew Bible, your Old Testament, you may already know the story of Balaam and the talking donkey. Balaam is a non-Israelite prophet. He is asked by the Moabite king to go to a place overlooking the Israelite encampment and there pronounce a curse over the people. Balaam, like any true prophet, is initially reluctant to accept this mission. But after consulting with the divine source and receiving permission to go, so long as he only says what God tells him to say, he sets out on his donkey. Though he has been sent by the king to curse the Israelites, in the end, he will pronounce a beautiful blessing upon them. A blessing so beautiful it's come into daily Jewish liturgy. As Balaam and his donkey are making their way to the overlook, Balaam's donkey sees a divine messenger, an angel, if you will, standing in their path with drawn sword. The donkey swerves off the path. Balaam is oblivious to what is right in front of him. So he hits his donkey to get it to continue on their way. The donkey slowly, cautiously continues. And when again the angel with the sword is just ahead of them, the donkey veers off the path again in the other direction. Balaam again beats his donkey. The donkey resumes walking, and seeing the angel a third time, sits down in the path. As Balaam starts to hit the donkey yet again, the animal turns its head and speaks. "What have I done to you that you have beaten me these 3 times? Balaam answers, "You have made a mockery of me. If I had a sword with me, I'd kill you." The donkey says to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey that you have always ridden, carrying you wherever you want to go? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you, of veering off our path?" And Balaam, of course, has to answer, "No, you've never done this." And then the Lord, the story goes, opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel with the sword blocking their way. Balaam got off the donkey and bowed low to the ground. The point of this little parable is obvious. Balaam could not see what was right in front of him. The donkey saw the angel, Balaam did not. The donkey is the teacher, Balaam is the blind fool, the ass, if you will. Of course, the Bible is a much more important text than fictional Dr. Dolittle stories of talking animals. This far-fetched fable is not to be read literally. It is included in the Torah for the profound lesson that it teaches us. At one time or another, all of us have had the experience of not being able to see what is right in front of us. When we are in crisis, when we are troubled, we cannot always see what others around us see. We lose our ability to consider alternative solutions to a particular problem. Our judgment, our understanding, our insight is compromised, even non-existent. If we are fortunate, we have our own personal donkey. What I mean by this is that we have someone in our lives that can open our eyes, our mind, our heart. That we have someone who can help us see a way through our struggles, someone who can show us the path, someone who can provide respite from our suffering, someone who can free us from our shackles. Why is this so important? As Professor Joanne Cacciatore has written, we cannot give what we have never received. We all need, from time to time, a Rabbi Hanina to free us from the shackles of our suffering. We all need a donkey to open our eyes. And if no one ever does this for us, with us, we cannot develop within ourselves the potential and the ability to do it for others. Not because it is transactional, you do for me and so I'll do for you. That's not it. It is so crucial that we know how, that we have the know-how and the willingness to help another person. Whether kin or friend or stranger, we must be ready to jump into the hole, to lead them out when we know the way. Rooted in the existential psychology of the 20th century, Rollo May wrote, "One does not become fully human painlessly." There are times when we will feel that we bear the unbearable, suffer the insufferable, or endure the unendurable. Yet it is also true, as Elie Wiesel has taught, no one is as capable of gratitude as one who has emerged from the kingdom of night. My hope is that each of us is blessed to have a friend, a partner, a sibling, a family member, a teacher who can help free us from our shackles when we find ourselves imprisoned by our own struggles. Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. Teach us to praise you with the utterance of our lips. May our mouth become an instrument of joyous song, and may our speech serve your ever-widening purpose. Bless the words of our mouth. Lend us the wit to speak the lean and simple word. Give us the strength to speak the found word, the meant word. Grant us the humility to speak the friendly word, the answering word. Make us sensitive to the sounds of the words that others speak, sensitive to the sound of their words and to the silences between.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.